The dark history of poison in murder cases. Welcome to Ginny Greaves.Poison. Poison has long been known as the invisible weapon of murder. Unlike knives or guns, poison does not require strength or confrontation. It can be delivered quietly, often through something as ordinary as food, drink, or medicine. For centuries, this made poisoning one of the most feared and difficult crimes to detect. Before the development of modern forensic science, a skilled poisoner could easily disguise murder as illness. And history contains many disturbing examples. Poison in the ancient world. Poison has been used as a weapon for thousands of years. In the ancient world, knowledge of toxic plants and substances was surprisingly widespread. One of the earliest famous poison deaths occurred in 399 BC, when the philosopher Socrates was sentenced to death by the Athenian state. He was forced to drink a mixture containing hemlock, a plant toxin that slowly paralyzes the nervous system. Ancient accounts describe how the poison gradually traveled through his body until he lost the ability to breathe. Although this was an execution rather than a murder, it demonstrated how effective poison could be as a silent and controlled method of killing. In ancient Rome, poisoning became associated with political intrigue. Powerful figures often feared assassination through poisoned wine or food, and professional poisoners were sometimes employed to eliminate rivals. Poison and power in Renaissance Europe. During the Renaissance, poison developed a particularly sinister reputation. Italian courts became famous for political conspiracies and rumors of secret toxins. One family frequently linked to poisoning plots was that of Rodrigo Borgia and his daughter Lucrezia Borgia. Stories circulated throughout Europe that the Borgias possessed a deadly poison known as cantarella, capable of killing victims without obvious trace. Historians today debate whether many of these accusations were exaggerated or politically motivated. Nevertheless, the legend of Renaissance poisoners became deeply embedded in European culture. Poison had become the weapon of intrigue, betrayal, and hidden power. The Victorian age of arsenic. Poisoning reached new levels of notoriety in the 19th century, particularly with the widespread availability of arsenic. Arsenic was cheap, easy to obtain, and extremely difficult to detect with the scientific tools of the time. It was commonly sold in products such as rat poison and pesticides. Because the symptoms resembled common illnesses like food poisoning or cholera, many arsenic murders went unnoticed. One of the most infamous cases involved Mary Ann Cotton, who was executed in 1873 after poisoning multiple husbands and family members with arsenic. Investigators eventually realized that each death conveniently resulted in financial gain for Cotton, including insurance payments. Her case became one of the first widely publicized examples of serial poisoning in Britain. Science begins to catch the poisoner. During the 19th century, forensic science began to transform criminal investigations. In 1836, the chemist James Marsh developed a chemical test capable of detecting arsenic in human tissue. Known as the Marsh Test, it allowed investigators to prove poisoning scientifically in court. For the first time, poison could leave measurable evidence. This development marked the beginning of modern forensic toxicology and dramatically reduced the ability of poisoners to escape justice. Poison in the modern era. Despite advances in science, poison has never disappeared from criminal history. One disturbing 20th-century case involved Graham Young, sometimes known as the Teacup Poisoner. Young secretly added toxic substances such as thallium to drinks and food, poisoning colleagues and acquaintances over several years. His fascination with toxic chemicals began in childhood and eventually resulted in multiple deaths. The case demonstrated that even in the modern world, poison can still be used by determined offenders. The enduring myth of the perfect murder. Poison has often been described as the perfect weapon because it leaves so little visible evidence. But modern toxicology has changed that perception. Today, forensic laboratories can detect even tiny traces of toxic substances in blood, hair, and tissue samples. Medical examiners can often reconstruct what a victim consumed before death with remarkable precision. The invisible weapon has become far less invisible. Yet the long history of poisoning reminds us of a darker truth. Some of the most dangerous weapons are not the ones we can see. Sometimes they are hidden quietly in a cup, a meal, or a glass of wine. You've been listening to the Ginny Greaves Crime Files. Bye for now. Ginny Greaves X.